Hey guys, welcome to Race Result Tech Check, our new series giving you some quick tips on how to make the best of your race result solution. Today, we want to talk about the best way to test your maths on race day. In fact, not just the best way, the only correct way to do so. It's always a good idea on race day to actually make sure things are working as you expect. This is normally done by just grabbing a transponder, and if you're anything like me, probably just a spare bib from registration because you don't think about it until it's too late. And then just waving this across the mats and hoping everything reads. But quick newsflash, it's not exactly professional and is kind of unreliable at best. We always recommend doing this with the race result test transponder. In fact, we just launched this new version, which not only looks better, but offers more reliable testing by using the race result passive transponder inside. But why can't I just use any transponder or UHF power mapper and wave it across the mat, I hear you say? Well, sure you can, but this doesn't offer the full picture on your system's performance. A dry transponder in good free air performs very differently to one stuck to the back of a bib pinned to a sweaty running vest. To further explain why we need the race result test transponder, we need to understand a little more about how the system works. When a system is reading a transponder, there are two key parts. First, the decoder has to send a signal which essentially powers the chip and tells it to send its information back. The second part, which is harder to measure, is the decoder then has to listen for the transponder signal back. It doesn't necessarily matter how much power the decoder sends out, but its ability to listen for the signal coming back. Think of this like trying to find a lost child in a shopping centre. A parent can shout as loud as they like, but if they can't hear the child calling back, they probably won't know they're there. So how does the test transponder do this better? Well, the test transponder is tuned to be a weak chip. In our development, we tuned it to read at about 1 meter high. That means the signal it sends back, known as the backscatter, is weaker. So when you're using the test transponder, you can hold it by the handle in front of you at 90 degrees to the mat with the stickered side facing up, and then walk across your mat, checking that everything is reading as normal. It can also help to have an assistant watching your screen and checking that every antenna is reading. The test transponder should read at the same height all the way along, about 1 meter. If the max detection height is lower at any point, then you know you need to check that antenna element. It may even be the transponder only reads at a lower height all the way along, which is pretty bad. The other part to be aware of here is the return loss warning you may get on a decoder. This means that the antenna for some reason can't send out all of its power because it's being reflected back, and the reader is essentially listening to itself. In either case, it's a sign that something may be wrong with your system or something is interfering with it, such as metal overhead gantries, carpet, or in particular wet carpet laid over your mats, or even something like a wireless microphone on the same frequency. We see this most often on wet and rainy days, and it's something that all UHF systems are prone to, even if they don't admit to it. So always try to keep your antennas clear as much as possible, and if you aren't using all of the antenna elements, then simply don't connect the ones that aren't being used and aren't reading transponders. Some other things you can check include the power settings in the UHF menu on the decoder, the cable ends and connections themselves, making sure they aren't damaged, and finally the actual antennas. Make sure the lid of the antenna element is securely fastened. It should actually be slightly touching the antenna inside for optimal performance. So remember, the only way to truly test your system on race day is by using the race result test transponder because it offers a good indication of both power output and listening sensitivity. If you want to understand more about how UHF timing systems work, then check out this tech deep dive video by Nikias on our YouTube channel. That's all from me today. I better go put this one back in my kit ready for the next race. See you next time.